Hello, everyone. This is Phil Cisneros. I'm with A World of Possibilities, an educational podcast, and I'm your host. And I have with me the lovely and very spiritual Sophie McLean, who's going to be sharing with us her wisdom and her journey and the way she touches people's lives. So, welcome, Sophie.
Phil, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, it's great to have you here. And I know a lot of people will want to know more about you and about listening to this show because you're on this. So I like to begin right away by having you get related to people and let them know a little bit about you and how this all started. Your birth and where did you grow up, etc. And I think it's always fascinating to find out. So tell us about you.
All right. So I have a European background. My family comes from Holland and Spain. Actually, comes from the very little island in the middle of the Mediterranean where I come from. And then they were poor, my ancestors in Spain in the 19th century. They moved to a French colony, Algeria. And my family was there for 6 generations. It was a time when colonization was acceptable. And then there was a war for independence, and I was a baby at the time, but we left. So I don't know Algeria, right? I was really a baby. But my father had some land in Morocco. So I got to be brought up in Morocco, in Casablanca, Morocco, which was a fantastic upbringing and childhood. And what I loved about Morocco is I have a French passport, and I was brought up as a Catholic, and there was a Muslim and there was a Jewish, and everybody mixed together. I have friends to this day of all religions and walk of life. It really was really great.
Beautiful.
Then moved to England, Oxford, and then the United States. And a year ago, back to where my ancestor came from, that little island called Minorca. So there is an overview of my life.
Oh, full circle.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And you've done a lot for yourself and have done some personal development work and some in various areas, meditations, etc., that helped you develop into the person you are today. Anything you want to share about that for our listeners?
Well, Phil, the what started my quest really was I was 12 years old and I had a gift. I still don't try to explain it to that day or understand it, but I was in my parents' garden watching my family getting ready to sit down for dinner, and I had an epiphany. I I had 4 messages, crystal clear. The first one was that I was living in a cocoon, and that cocoon was not a reflection of the world. The second insight was that I needed to go out in the world and experience as much as I could from despair to joy. The third insight was that I was going to learn that it was all an illusion, and that if we believed anything, it was in fact a lie. And finally, I got my orders. Just go and tell people. So I was 12 years old. I ran to my parents and I told them, oh, it's absolutely amazing. I just understand everything. We live in a cocoon. It's all an illusion. We have to tell people. And I got my nickname, the crazy one, with much love. But to this day, that is my nickname in my family. But you know, the funny thing is, in spite of up and down and my road was all over the place, I stayed true to this epiphany and this instruction. This is exactly what happened in my life.
Yeah, I guess that's what's really beautiful about your journey is that, life happens to every one of us, ups and downs, like you said, successes, failures. But that ultimate epiphany that you had is still there, and you're still using that as your compass. Yeah.
I think it is using me, frankly, because
Oh,
I have attempted to disregard it.
yes.
There are some times in my life where I thought, enough. I
Yeah.
have enough service. I have enough trying to contribute. I have enough trying to tell people what I was told. But every single time I do that, I become miserable. So I surrendered.
Oh, good, good. Yeah, resistance is futile.
Exactly.
Right. And so now, you know, through your development and through your insights and through your journey, you're and being, including being labeled the crazy one, and you know, in spite of all that, you are impacting people's lives. And
Mhm.
you know, I've watched your TikToks and your bits of wisdom, and I so enjoy it, and especially the stories. And in this journey of yours, you've been able to discover some of these little bits of wisdom. And there are a few that you've shared on TikTok. So, anything about that being able to be human and yet have wisdom at the same time?
Well, I from the age of 15 until I was 28, I had a lot of tough circumstances. Lost a baby, couldn't have children, lost my husband 5 days after I got married, got raped, like a lot of tough circumstances. And I hit the bottom of despair,
Mm,
forgot all about my 12-year-old gift, to really the bottom of despair. And when you reach the bottom of the pit of despair, there is only one way, it's up.
yes.
So I met this extraordinary man in Los Angeles, actually, called Randy, who in one conversation altered my life forever. And I realized that there are two questions, one that I needed to adopt as a mantra with anything that happened in life. The first one was, what do I need to give up? And the other one was, what do I need to learn?
Oh, great.
And those two questions have put me on the path to wisdom, because there is no answers, no truth to the answer to those questions. You go with the flow and whatever you make up on the moment. But it has always provided for me a forward movement and elevation constantly, and also was able to give me the courage to be present and to dance with the circumstances of life.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful, because a lot of people today are, you know, dealing with the circumstances of life, just life
Yes.
itself. And we keep hoping when it isn't going to be that way, when the truth of the matter is life is full of problems, right?
In fact, I think that life is an experience. And the more experiences you have, the richer and the bigger your life is. And how to go through experiences with ease is not to resist anything and to dance and to make it all perfect. Now, how can you make the death of my child perfect, for example? It's not that I'm rejoicing, going, yes, how great, I lost a child and couldn't have any more. Of course, that's not what I mean. But what I mean is, I have a choice on
Mm.
how to deal with what happened.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And that is where my power lies.
Say a little bit more about that. That you have a choice about what has happened with you and how you see that.
Well, for example, for your listener, Phil, right? We're going through a systemic crisis. The word is perfect, systemic. The entire system is in crisis. In
Mhm.
fact, so how, globally, right? So what is my say in the matter of a
Ah,
global systemic crisis? But I do have a say. It's a context I'm going to create around that crisis. So some people can say it's terrible, there is so much suffering, it's horrible, we're going to blow ourselves up, nature, the climate crisis is horrible, horrible, horrible. Or You could say, for example, which is what I say, we're living through one of the most exciting time of our human history, because it is the opportunity to elevate and create a new culture for humankind that we have never had fully before. And Einstein said it beautifully, right? Years and years and years ago, he said, our technology has surpassed our humanity.
Oh, wow. Yes.
And I think this is a time where our humanity is catching up.
Mm.
And so it's exciting. You know, the word crisis in Chinese has two meanings. The great opportunity and the horrible suffering. But in one word, there is those two. So we have the choice. Which one are we going to take?
Oh,
So
that's
that's what I
beautiful.
mean, that we have power.
Yeah, great. And he also, Einstein said, we no longer can solve the problems of today at the level of thinking at which the problems were started. So we're
Yes.
having to really create new solutions, which challenges us. Yes.
Well, it's in fact, Phil, it's further than solution, because if you look at the crisis we have, the system we have designed is actually functioning perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
So when we try to find solution for the system is not broken. We have designed a system that is by itself not producing the result that we don't want, but the system works perfectly with separatedness and domination, win and lose, making it violence, aggressivity, poor people, rich people, inequalities. That is a system. So why would you want to change the system, fix the system? No, you need to create a new one.
Beautiful. Great, great, great. Now, if individuals are going through life and I, just like I said, I love your TikTok wisdom and your little snippets. And if one person is really looking at trusting their own wisdom, their own um, thoughts of having something happen greater than the way they're experiencing it, what would you recommend, or how would you have people see themselves in the face of difficulties, along with the fact that you got a choice, but how to trust their own personal wisdom?
Yes, it's a great question. So here's what I do, right? I, in my experience of 35 years, Phil, and thousands of students, I came to the conclusion that human beings are designed for bliss. So if you look, when you're well and in joy and happy, your body works well, you are filled with energy, you are kind and generous, you know, you're great, right? So when you are well and happy, everything goes well. When you're not, then your body produces a hormone that has you tired, you overdrink, you overeat, you are grumpy, and some people can go all the way to sickness, right? Therefore, I got it. If I'm not happy, if I am not fulfilled, if I'm agitated, I am off. I am. It's got nothing to do with the circumstances. It's got nothing to do with the external world. I have lost my alignment. So I don't do anything until those emotions have disappeared. And I really cherish, I used to really resent emotions and feelings are annoying and frustrating before in my life. But right now, they are truly messages from my soul. If I have low level emotions, I know I'm not aligned with my soul. So I stop everything and realign. So that's how I trust myself. I trust myself when I am well and happy and grounded. Then I know I don't need to think about things. My emotions and feelings telling me I am aligned. If I'm agitated, low level, angry, frustrated, no.
And that's part of your message about being kind, is including kind to yourself. Yes.
It is so important. I love kindness. at first it doesn't cost anything, and it gives you everything. And I had to learn to be kind with myself, because I live my life based on a quote by a French mystic called Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, who said, "You're not a human being having a spiritual experience, you're a spiritual being having a human experience." So my human, as I am my soul and I have a human, I'm not a human that has a soul, right? So
Yeah.
my human can be so petty and so agitated and so, frustrated. And I have compassion, as my essence has compassion for my human. And I do know that my human has needs. My human has memories of traumas from the past. My human has fear, but this is not who I am. I have a human. So I take care of my human the same way that I will take care of my body or my car. Or, I mean, obviously, I love my human more than my car, but you understand what I say.
Yes, I do. And the other thing is that one of the things that you've said on your bits of wisdom was that you've met a lot of good people, and nobody's bad except just people do bad things or make mistakes.
I used to believe, that whoever you believe created human beings made a huge mistake. I mean, little children are dying of hunger, people are fighting, even in a family, couples divorce. I mean, I thought, whoa, human beings are flawed. And then as I worked and worked and led and worked with people and had the privilege to discover human being, in 35 years, I have never met a bad human being.
Yes.
Truly,
Wow.
every single time I fell in love with the divine sacredness of all of us. And there are people that do really bad things.
Hmm.
And that comes from denial, from a very low level of consciousness that allows for violence and aggressivity. That's why I keep educating everybody so that people can raise their consciousness.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I was an educator for many years, and one of the things I made sure that children that I taught knew was that, look, we're all going to make mistakes, and to really forgive yourself and to learn from those mistakes.
That's
That's
right.
how you learn. So
That's right.
anything about that, learning from your mistakes and being able
Those
to,
are the two magic questions, right? What is there to give up? And mostly when you fail or you make a mistake, is blaming yourself. And then what is a lesson here so that I don't repeat the same thing over and over again? Because I think everybody notices that life keeps serving you the same thing over and over and over again until you learn.
yes, like we said, resistance is futile. So,
That's right.
it's time to learn this one.
That's right.
So now you are, through a broadcasting network of social media, you're impacting a lot of people. And have you gotten any impacts from that? Anybody has shared with you the results of listening to you? And see, that's what I'm interested in, is what is the impact you're now having with people?
So social media is less rewarding than actually in-person leading, because I don't get to hear from many people. But in 3 months of launching myself, I didn't do it, right? My assistant, who is much younger than me, is determined that I use social media, and she's doing a great job. But I think 3 or 4 months, I reached nearly as many people. I think it's 80,000 people that I did in 30 years in person. So
Wow.
I know,
Wow.
I know, it's blowing my mind, and it's growing every day and every day. So I'm saying, okay, I love social media. I didn't know there was the possibility of this impact, because, the main message on social media that I want to transmit is that you need to learn to think consciously, not to have thoughts. You know, most people have thoughts. They repeat what somebody has said, what they've heard, what they read. It's automatic. It's about looking good and making it. No, if you take the time to slow down and examine consciously with awareness what's happening, your life can transform very rapidly. And you know, Phil, awareness, people seem to be a little bit intimidated by it, but this is what we teach children. When you teach your child to cross the street, you tell your child, stop, look right, look left, and then make a choice to cross the street or not. This is what is needed to be able to master thinking consciously. It is really simple, and that can alter anyone's life.
Yeah, that's a very powerful message, and especially listeners listening for themselves saying, who do I need to be? You know, I don't want to be a follower of Sophie. I want to be something of a Sophie for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So what you just shared was like, this is how you can walk through life. You know, that life is a series of crossing streets. Yes.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that if I was to really stop and just listen, right?
Yeah.
And
Listen, look, question.
very good. Yeah, question.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if that's the wrong turn, then what?
Well, then you say, oops,
Okay.
and you turn around.
Is there such a thing as a wrong turn? I mean, is it if it's really all turned
Yeah.
out, I mean, is it a
I,
wrong turn ever?
I think because of the two magic question, what is there to give up and what is there to learn? I think, you know, truly, my experience is that it's always perfect. Even when it's so uncomfortable and so painful, it always turns out. You need to learn to dance. And
Yes.
but you can redirect. I have no problem. You know, as I said earlier in the call, I said I used to say to my students, "Oh, don't listen to your emotions. You know, just don't listen to them. Just follow your word." And then, as I grew in my wisdom, and I thought, no, you want to use everything, right? So I don't have a problem with changing direction as long as you make sure that everybody around you that is impacted is taken care of.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And it includes the whole human being, and not eliminate. I mean, I got eyebrows. I'm not going to shave off my eyebrows because I'm a human being, you know. But all those emotions come with the package. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's great. Now, I'd like to. There's one particular share that you had about an insight you had, because I've had my share of mistakes. You know, I've had resentments, and you know, I made people wrong for doing this or saying that, and you know, oh, you hurt me. You know, and you said some things that on the your words of wisdom that really impacted me, and just oh my gosh, that was so good. Thank you for telling me that. So, say something a little bit about when you one discovers, oh, I've been wrong. And I thought it was I had every right to make those people wrong or be angry with them, or they hurt me. So, can you say a little bit about that in regards to how to discover a freedom from
Mm.
that?
And again, Phil, it's exactly what we talked about, right? So, for example, after my husband died, I was 28. I started hating my family because my brother got married 2 months after I lost my husband. And I had just married my husband. He died 5 days after my marriage, right? So I thought that was selfish and heartless, and he could have waited 6 months, right? Then my sister moved in my house. I didn't have my privacy anymore, and she wouldn't leave me alone. And I was too impacted to tell her no. Then my mother kept telling me to drug myself and to take antidepressants because she didn't want to see me cry, and my father tried to borrow money from me. So I just started developing a resentment and hatred of my family, which I had adored up to that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I started smelling a rat in the woodpile. First, it was horrible for me to have those feelings for those people that I had loved for all those years. And I watched myself gossiping about them and whining about them. And I couldn't feel better even when I complained about them, right? So I finally sat myself down and dealt with myself. And I discovered a very, very bad news is that I was the one that had made up an entire story about the people I love, because my darling brother came to the other side of the world to be at my husband's funeral. I saw him at the funeral. He was being weird. And I asked him, which I conveniently forgot, what's happening? And he burst into tears. He said, this woman walked in this room and I recognized her. She's a woman for me. Please forget it. I'm so ashamed. And I said to him, I am going away in 1 week. Please, that something good comes out of something bad. Just stay here and be happy. Right? I gave him permission. And my brother uprooted his new wife from her country, which was South Africa, and moved to England so that he could be next to me. And I am saying that he's heartless. I started feeling really bad, right? My sister moved from Italy to England. The end of the street was too far for her. She moved in my house so that I wouldn't be alone. My mother wanted me to take antidepressant because she could, when you love somebody that suffers a lot, you can't stand it. You want to just make them feel better. And my dad, who was a very macho, I adore my dad, man, the only thing he could think of to get me out of my grief was to start a business with me. And I realized I had made up all this resentment, all this hatred, because I was frightened that they would die. So I was killing them before it happened because I had been so traumatized by what happened to me with my husband. I decided, all right, all the people I really love, I'm going to kill off now.
Yes.
Well, I apologize so much, Phil. And my family was so, so gracious, so loving. They understood completely, and I came back to life.
Yes.
So was it pleasant? No. But I had compassion for myself. It was plain fear. I was terrified to lose any more people. But it doesn't justify anything, right? So you want to be free, you want to be self-expressed, you want to be alive, you need to generate the courage to tell the truth.
Yeah.
There is no other way.
That's beautiful. That's great. And this is why I think that you have so much to offer is you have gone through life situations and have had those moments of, wow, I see something now I hadn't seen before, and reconnected with your loved ones, and ultimately, this is my uh, love for life, is that ultimately love wins in the end, always,
Yeah,
and
I think that's the only thing that is real. It's love.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is so great what you're offering people in the world in your little bits of wisdom. But I love what you said about being in person. So is there any chance that people can be with you in person and just anyways,
Yeah,
anything.
well, the thing is, I reach people all over the world, thanks to the platform, right? The Visios conferences. So I have students in Taiwan and in Germany and in Australia, in the United States, in Europe. So it's really great because when
Yes.
I was stuck in one spot, only the people that could come there. But I must tell you, I have a hidden dream that is not going to be hidden much longer, is to open an awareness center. A
Great.
place where people could come for a few days, a week, 2 weeks, something quite magical where you will think together and have those conversations like we're having today and do some courses or something like that. So I'll make sure I'll let you know if I
Okay.
turn it into a reality.
Great. And you also have some books out. Is that right?
Yes. So what I do is that I reach people as much as I can. So I have written a book, which is called The Elegance of Simplicity, which is like a story of elevation and consciousness. I have written a guide for people that want to know the path, like very linear, how to get to freedom and remember who they really are. And I'm writing my third book right now. That the title is "You Have to Be an Idiot to Want to Be a Guru."
Yeah.
I think I'm not sure about the title, but I like that one. I
That's
have, yeah.
that's great. That is really great. And
And I lead courses online. I have self-guided courses. So I'm trying to reach everybody. I have one-on-one courses for, I worked with the UN, I worked with CEOs and politicians. So I'm trying to cover the whole spectrum. Whoever is interested in awareness and awakening, they can find what they need on my website.
and the website is
.com.
sophiemclean.com.
Yeah.
Okay, very, very easy to find. Great. And the
Yes.
books are listed on there. And
Yes, absolutely, with links, and you can find everything. You can find all the podcasts, all the courses, or everything
great.
on the website.
Now, in getting to know you in our pre-course, the call that you said something about, because see, I'm 72 now, and I'm looking at the rest of my life, and I'm not interested in retirement. I don't even know what that word means. Only it's a concept to me. I'm up to making a contribution. I want to make a contribution the rest of my life to my last breathing, my last breath, and I want this contribution to include others and acknowledge others and to bring out the best in people. So that's mine. But what is yours? How do you see you at this stage in your life? What do you see in the future for you?
Oh, I'm on that path, and I've been on that path for 35 years. I call it awakening old sleepwalkers, right? So I'm not talking about enlightenment, Phil, even if, as you said, I'm very spiritual and I have an experience of the sacred and I had the most extraordinary experiences. But what I'm providing for people is opening the door to the possibility of a life of being awakened. And what I call a sleepwalker are people that do not, that identify with who they are not. And I think that is a whole game of life, right? I think we incarnate very early, we forget who we are. And we start identifying with our looks, the color of our skin, our parents, our sex, then your job title, your car, whatever it is, your character, your being nice or intelligent or strong. And this is not who you are. And I believe that the whole of life is the opportunity to realize that you needed to identify with who you are not so that you could remember who you are. And what I provide is a pathway. It is very quick. My course is 10 weeks. In 10 weeks, you actually have an experience experience of your soul, your essence. You know exactly what it feels like to be aligned. You know you're human. You know your misidentification in 10 weeks. How extraordinary is that?
Wow. What's the name of the course?
It's called The Power of Awakening.
Oh, wow. Okay, great. Well, for all the listeners out there, if there's something you want seeing that for yourself, this is really get in touch with Sophie's website and take a look at that. And it's just been so wonderful to be with you today, Sophie, and sharing yourself and the gift that you are to humanity. And I just encourage you to keep being you and all that you're contributing to us. And I just love having you on today's show. And I wish you all the best and lots of love to you and support.
Phil, I want to thank you first for this extraordinary podcast, for your love for people. But, you know, there are some people that when you talk to them, you cannot say anything other than something great. And you are one of those. You made me feel like I had something to give, had something to contribute. I feel powerful and wanted. I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Well, it's my pleasure. I must be getting my job done then.
You are.
All right. Thank you so much, Sophie. Have a wonderful day there in Spain, and so great to be with you.
Thank you, Phil. Bye-bye.
Bye.